Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Friday, October 25th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a very nice sweep in the NBA with our two plays. We ended up having a play on the Bucks on the money line, which was available at plus 104 on DraftKings. After a very questionable first half in which they were down 16 points, Bucks made some adjustments. Harden was awful down the stretch as he ended up going 2 for 13 as a whole. I don't think he made a shot the entire fourth quarter. He was terrible. Westbrook was awful for about three quarters before he finally woke up in the fourth. But at the end of the day, the Rockets decided to go hero ball in the fourth, and Harden chucked up a bunch of terrible threes. And the Bucks, even though Giannis ended up fouling out with about 6 minutes to go, were able to hold on thanks to the likes of Ersan Ilyasova and Brook Lopez. So we ended up getting a win there, which was nice. And then we ended up taking that win, and we ended up duplicating it with the Clippers on the money line at minus 112 on FanDuel, as they were able to absolutely just destroy the Warriors. The Warriors were trailing the entire game. Clippers went on a big run early on. Warriors made a little bit of a climb back late in the first quarter, earlier in the second, but at the end of the day, I just think the Clippers are too good. I know that you don't want a lot of people overreact and talk about the first two games of the season as, they still have hope that their team could, potentially win the championship. If the Clippers stay healthy and they get Paul George back who stays healthy, this team's going to win the whole thing. I don't think any team can compete with them. They've already beaten the Lakers. They've already beaten the Warriors. I know you can say, well, the Lakers didn't have Kuzma. Do you really think Kuzma makes that big of a difference in terms of this matchup? I don't. I think the Clippers are the best team. I'll probably bet a future on them to win the championship at like plus 300, as they definitely should be somewhere in the plus 200 range, just based on how well they've played. But either or, we ended up going 2-0 in the NBA. I believe I posted on Twitter, but I believe it was for plus 1.93 units, which was a solid day. But we'll look to continue our success with another NBA play of the day on Friday. In terms of the actual betting card, you have one baseball game, which I'll give leans on. You have one college football game, which I'll give leans on. The rest of the NBA, not really that great, but there is one play that I'm looking at that I definitely like, and that is a matchup between the Portland Trail Blazers and the Sacramento Kings. The Kings originally opened up at -1. They're currently down to plus 2.5, and I actually like the Portland Trail Blazers on the road here, -2.5, which is available on FanDuel at -110, and that will be the line that we are using for play of the day. Now, the main reason why I actually like this play is based on two things. One, injuries for the Kings. The Kings are officially going to be without Marvin Bagley, as he ended up suffering a thumb injury, and he will be out 4 to 6 weeks. I know Marvin Bagley has been hit or miss so far in his young pro career, but he definitely helps in the Kings front court, as he ended up having a double-double in the first game of the regular season with 14 and 10 in just 28 minutes of gameplay. Meanwhile, just the Kings itself, they were awful in the second half in their opening game. I thought the Kings actually might win the first game against the Suns. They entered the half up 5 points on the road. Solid start, normal. You're beating the Suns on the road. Everything seems fine. They got outscored in the second half by, let me get the math right here. 19, they got outscored in the second half by 34 points. I don't know what Luke Walton said to them at half, but I don't know how you go from up 5 to down 29 to end the game. That's insane to me. And I kind of question Luke Walton's ability to make adjustments if you're getting outscored by 34 points going into the second half. But other than that, though, the Kings, I question, overall, you lose to the Suns by that big of a margin after a decent first half. I'm a little bit concerned about the direction your team might be headed in. Plus, the Trailblazers are very solid on the boards with Whiteside and Collins as their big men. And I think that the Kings will struggle on the boards considering the fact that Marvin Bagley is no longer available. So your big men now consist of Dwayne Dedmon, Wayne Gabriel, you have Caleb Swanigan, and you got Bajalissi. And that's it. I butchered the pronunciation of that last name. But either or, I don't see many bodies here. I think Portland's going to dominate the rebounding edge. Portland, even though they lost to Denver, was actually able to win the rebounding advantage, which is a pretty solid deal considering the fact that you have to go against the likes of Jokic and Millsap and some of the other big bodies that Denver possesses. So Portland should dominate the boards. It's also worth mentioning that Buddy Hield, the Kings' best player, arguably, is a game-time decision. He's currently questionable as he is dealing with some issues regarding his ankle. So this early in the season, I have to assume the Kings will probably not use him, or even if he does play, I think they will probably keep him to a minute restriction as he still has another 80 games to go, give or take. So based on that, I just think the Trailblazers are a better team. I still like De'Aaron Fox for the Kings, but if Hield is not at 100%, and you're also going to be missing Bagley and Giles, who are both going to be out, I just think Portland has a significant height advantage, and I think they will dominate the boards. And I don't think Hield will be able to guard anybody, or I don't think he's going to play, to be honest here. That's a little bit of a speculation on my part. But even if he is, I don't think he will be that efficient, as he ended up leading the Kings in scoring in the first game of the season with 28 points on an efficient 10 of 19 shooting in 31 minutes. So I don't think he will be at 100%. So I don't think he'll play. But other than that, though, in terms of the recent matchups, the Trailblazers have actually dominated. The favorite is 5-0-1 against the spread in the last 6 meetings, and the Trailblazers are 4-1-1 ATS in the last 6 meetings between these teams. So the Trailblazers have done historically well in recent memory against the Kings, and I think they will be able to succeed in these circumstances. And I think it makes sense why the Kings have gone from a favorite to an underdog, and I will back that line movement. So the play of the day will be on the Portland Trailblazers -2.5, which is available on FanDuel at -110. Now, in terms of some of the other leans on today's card, I'll start with the baseball game. You have the Astros versus the Nationals in Game 3. Nationals have been coasting as they won the first 2 games on the road. It's must-win territory for Houston. Money's come in on Houston. Do I really care about it? No. I'm kind of at a loss for words with regard to baseball, as I feel like Houston's just a much better team. But I think the Nationals have established themselves as a team of destiny, and I don't really think anyone can stop them right now. This team is absolutely rolling. The bullpen has been a little bit hit or miss, but they've still been able to hold on, as the Astros bullpen completely imploded in Game 2. Greinke's historically bad in the postseason. Anibal Sanchez has been pretty much, he's been great so far this postseason. You look pretty good against the Dodgers. He almost had a no-hitter against the Cardinals. He's looked really good. I have to lean to the Nationals if I have to lean anywhere, just because of the fact that they are getting plus money. Will I bet the game? No, but I would have to lean to the Nationals just based on the fact that they have looked like the best team in baseball in the last couple of weeks. So I'll lean to the Nationals there, getting a plus price at home. Moving on, you have the college football game between USC and Colorado. I will lean to the over 64, and I would lean to the Colorado Buffaloes plus the 12. In terms of the actual game itself, both these teams don't play much defense. I expect this game to be relatively high scoring. In terms of value, the value on the total is pretty much gone, as it went from 60 to 64. So you lost about 4 points in value. I think it's warranted. USC is dealing with some issues on the defensive line, so they have some health concerns. And Colorado has been terrible defensively all season long, but I definitely think with USC's issues on the defensive line, Montez should have some extra time to throw. You could find Chevault deep, big play receiver, and I think you should see a decent amount of points. I think both these teams should get into the 30s. I think this game will be close. I think USC should win by about a touchdown, but I think Colorado could potentially be a live dog at home. So I'll lean to Colorado plus the points, and I will lean to the over. And in terms of my other basketball leans, I actually wrote an article about the Raptors and the Celtics game of winners and whiners, so you can check that out for a more detailed preview. But in terms of the game, I actually gave out the under, and I gave out the Celtics -2.5. The under, when I wrote the article, was at roughly 215. It's already down to 213 and 212 in some spots, as it opened up at 217.5. So money is absolutely poured in on the under. I would lean to the under as well, but you have to question how much value it still has if you lost about 4 points of value. I still lean to the Celtics, though. They were an offensive no-show in the first game of the season in terms of the matchup against 76ers. I'm doing well, Mike. How you doing? Nice to see you again on listening to the show. Hopefully all is going well with you. In terms of the Celtics, though, they looked awful against the 76ers, who, in my opinion, are going to be one of the best defensive teams in the entire league. But they get to return home. First game in TD Garden for Kemba Walker as a member of the Celtics. I think he will play a lot better after going 4 for 18 from the floor. Gordon Hayward looked very solid, though, in the debut as he had 25 points. I think Toronto, even though they were able to sneak away with the victory in the first game of the season, they still needed overtime to beat the Pelicans. I know Siakam fouled out, but as a whole, I still am a little bit concerned with how Toronto will adapt to life without Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, Mike, the play of the day was on the Trailblazers -2.5 against the Sacramento Kings, and that was the play of the day. So you can look for that line on your local book, but that's what we gave out. In terms of the actual game itself, I think this game will be close, but at the end of the day, I just have to go with my gut on that, and I will go with the Celtics, as they year in, year out have one of the best home court advantages in all of basketball, and I think that they will come out trying to make a statement against the defending champions. So I would lean to the Celtics, and I would lean to the under, because I think the Celtics will look to slow it down, play a more Brad Stevens half-court conventional style of offense, which should slow the pace. And I think that Toronto, Van Vliet at 34 points, Siakam at 34 points, Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol were terrible in the first game. I think if you try to limit Van Vliet from the perimeter, I think Toronto could have some problems, as I don't really see many scores on their active roster. But I definitely think Boston will clamp down and win that game outright. A quick question from Peter: what happened to the other Scott? Trying. Oh, no. Yeah, somebody commented on that on the last video that we had, talking about how the Winners and Whiners page just wasn't around. And I actually checked because I had access to the Winners and Whiners page, and the page completely vanished. So I actually do not know. I can find that out from some of my higher ups, and I'll get back to you on that. As of right now, I have no idea. So I will have to get back to you because I'm just not informed on the situation. So sorry about that. But as of right now, no, you're not crazy, Peter. I also noticed the same thing. I can't find the Winners and Whiners videos either. So you are not alone. I'll look into it and I'll get back to you hopefully with some information tomorrow. But I will reach out on that. Am I on the Winners and Whiners Discord page? I'm actually not. I have used Discord before. Really just not a fan of it. I could get on it. I might look into it in the future if that is something that you would want me to do. I feel like it would be a good way of interacting with you, but honestly, the comment section is always open, so you could always just ask me whatever you want anyway. But I'll definitely look into joining the Discord page if any of you want to reach out to me on that. Or you just reach out to me on Twitter at Reichel Radio, and I'll answer any questions or anything you want to know. But overall, the play of the day, once again, will be on the Portland Trailblazers, which is available at -2.5 on FanDuel at -110. So lean to the Celtics, lean to the under. Other than that, though, looking at the rest of the basketball card, yeah, I really just don't like anything. Lakers are -3.5 against the Jazz. Do I think they should be 3.5? No. I think Utah's actually a pretty good team in the Western Conference that people were sleeping on. Lakers really did not impress me in the first game of the season. I know they were against the Clippers, so I can give them a bit of a pass, but the issue I have with the Lakers moving forward is just the fact that something about LeBron. I know it was the first game with him and Anthony Davis. We might have been trying to force feed Davis. It just seems like LeBron mentally checks out of games at this point in his career, where defensively he drew some charges and he looked decently. Offensively, though, he did pretty much nothing for about 2 quarters, and I question just the way that he's engaged. I know in the past he used to be engaged for all 40-something minutes, and he would just take the ball and try to score. It seems like he's trying to embrace more of a facilitator role in the Lakers, which I do not think is a good option moving forward. I think that's an issue to keep in mind. I think Utah could be a live dog in this game as well, but I'm actually not going to touch the game itself. So other than that, though, that's going to be this installment of Scott's Selections here for Friday, October 25th. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.